Today, we continue our series of dusters around the world, and we get to do it with a very special person. And we all woke up this morning to some great news for the UFD community. We're joined today by Elizabeth Grace. She's a key community member. I'm going to let her share initially the good news that we got this morning. And she's got a puppy with her. We'll let her tell us all about that. And we're going to hear about her Uncle Kenny and some questions he has about crypto. And like she always does, she's got some optimism to share with us, right? 4 reasons why we can be optimistic about 2026. I've talked too long. Elizabeth Grace, Chief Anchor Woman for Unicorn Fart Dust. Welcome back to the basement. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Ron. Thank you for having me. GM, everybody. And yes, I am dog sitting for a friend at the moment. This is Teddy, the Pomeranian lap dog, and he will likely be here the whole time, just chilling here. But yeah, the exciting news that kicked off the start to our January 7th is the Bybit listing, which is a global cryptocurrency exchange. I think this is the very first time we've ever been listed with Bybit. And yeah, it's very exciting. So I shared that on my Twitter. And yeah, it's great news.
Yeah, it looks like here, should be on the screen. Bybit put out a post. Big news, dusters, new listing on Bybit Alpha. The magic dust is spreading farther than ever. Trade now on Bybit, and they've got an affiliate program. And they must know that my favorite color is orange because they put our new IP, which again, we're like one of only 15 meme coin projects that has their IP secured in this image. So very exciting. I want to read something if I can, if it's okay with you, because this is actually Elizabeth Grace's live stream this morning, but if it's okay with her, I'd like to read a little blurb, short paragraph I got from the Unicorn Fart Dust Public Relations Department. Is that okay, Elizabeth?
Yes, I will allow it. And I didn't know your favorite color was orange. That's surprising that you're not a Bitcoiner with that being your favorite color.
It's the only color that's also a taste, but we'll leave that discussion for another day. Here's what we've got from the PR department. We are excited to share that Unicorn Fart Dust is now listed on Bybit Alpha, giving users direct on-chain access through the Bybit platform without the need for external wallets. This significantly lowers friction for new traders, expands UFD's global reach, and increases potential liquidity and discovery. It's a strong validation milestone and an important foundation as we continue scaling UFD's presence across major platforms. What do you think of all that, Elizabeth Grace?
Super duper exciting. I've never used Bybit, but I've used Kraken. I know we're on there. I've used other HTX. We're on Mexi, Binance, Coinbase, but this is adding another one to the list. So we'll have to update the website. That's exciting.
Yeah, exciting news. And like the PR department said, here we go. It looks like Bybit, a massive account. I just went out and looked, almost 600,000 followers on X. Good news, right? And no expectation that this was going to happen. And I think what it shows, like we've said all along, that if our community keeps doing the work every single day, right? What really matters, right? Spreading the word about UFD, building the project, that just naturally and organically these great things happen. And I'm of the opinion, just my opinion, after 1 year of in-depth experience in crypto, that as we move forward, UFD will become much more readily accessible on more and more platforms, because that's the way technology works. And as we're available on more and more platforms, and more of the buttercups move from being anti-crypto, maybe like your Uncle Kenny, into the world of crypto, that it could spell really good things for our project.
Absolutely. And I know you mentioned you've been in crypto for about a year now, but it just dawned on me how it worked out that you were here since 2024, and then 2025, and now 2026. So it's 3 years stand across, but you came in at kind of the perfect time, I think, even though we saw that massive explosion and now kind of if you build it, they will come. And this is just like a perfect example of that.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So I have been in crypto for 3 years
Yep,
technically, but
technically
really
3 years.
but 13 months.
Yep.
Maybe 14 months. But I've learned a lot. And you bring up a real powerful point, right? Like it was strange when I first got into crypto and created Unicorn Fart Dust as an experiment that things were like glowing red hot in the world of crypto. And it was right after, the Trump inauguration, all this excitement. But the last 7 to 8 months have been a very challenging environment. And I actually think that is ideal for projects like ours because it gives projects like ours the opportunity to prove that we're here to stay and that we're a long-term oriented project. And it gave us an opportunity to really forge and build a community that's second to none. And that includes people like you, Elizabeth Great.
Well, that's what it's all about. Really, meme coins are about the relationships and the community. And I think having a docs dev from the very beginning was very rare in the meme coin sector. And even the term meme coin is strange to me because they're not like a coin that you would go and buy a coffee with at the Starbucks, right? It's not a currency in that sense. It's more of a collectible. But I'm going off on a whole other definition tangent. But yeah, just the fact that you've been so reliable and our community has been consistent and stable over the long term. I think that's what's missing, and that it's such a new sector and that we're proving to be one of the only coins that has that. And we've had in real life meetups, and we're going to have another one in Las Vegas coming up in April. And so it's just exciting to see the evolution of it. And I'm excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a step, right? It was for me even, okay? And we're going to talk, and I'm joking around about your Uncle Kenny. I love your Uncle Kenny, even though I've never met him. But, people out there that were me, I was included in that segment 14, 16 months ago that didn't really understand where the value was in a crypto, or in particular, the value in a meme coin. But when people wake up like I did and realize that there really is value in a community, right? There's value in the Lions Club. There's value in country clubs. There's value in all sorts of things. The community really can create value. Then you start to see kind of what meme coins are really about. And I think it's a competitive advantage that we have at UFD, that we are a meme coin, because we aren't promising any like great technological revolution. We aren't making any massive, like what we're promising is a community of people that are focused on good, right? And culture, right? Which I still go, that's a newer thing that I've learned just in the last 2 to 3 months. And I heard David Goldstein talk about it, but I really believe it now to be true. Like the culture of memes, like the UFD culture, our IP, the visual culture, like it's a timeless thing almost, right? And we're connected to the unicorn, thankfully, not on purpose, but we are. That we're kind of like some people say like Santa Claus is kind of a meme, and Santa Claus has been around for, everybody has an image of what Santa Claus is and what it stands for. And that as UFD continues to build, I'm not saying we're going to compete with Santa. I don't want to be on his naughty list or anything like that, but it's the same type concept.
And I love that. That's entirely all part of the narrative and the lore of the coin, was the fact that you were this silver maxi who was so skeptical of crypto in the first place, like my Uncle Kenny. And I mean, just to see the evolution of everything and the tokenization of that community, I think that's where the future is going. Like right now, we don't have country clubs or the Lions Club or whatever clubs. Those aren't on chain. But eventually, I think many will be. We are just kind of doing it first.
Duster Club is that's us, right? I'm sorry I interrupted you, but
no worries. Yeah.
We are, right? That's what we are. Like we're like a Web3 version of, let's say, something similar to the Kiwanis Club or the Lions Club or something like that, where people can come and people pay dues to belong to those clubs, right? And on top of that, we have this incredible gift of the blockchain and crypto. It's really cool. I mean, I won't go down this path. Everyone's heard it so many times, but I believe that we are on like the leading edge of like value revolution in the world, value evolution in the world, and proving that, yes, there's a great value when people come together, form emotional bonds, and have kind of a common goal that movements do, absolutely matter.
Yep, for sure.
So tell us about Uncle Kenny, right? Because here's the thing, right? There's millions and billions of people in the world who aren't into crypto yet. And I've had the experience, sounds like you've had the experience, right, with people who are skeptical about crypto. And we're joking around about Uncle Kenny. Again, Uncle Kenny, if you're watching.
A shout out. Hey, Uncle Kenny. I know he's watching right now. So I wanted to give a shout out to him and to my dad as well, who's also watching, who are both very much silver and gold boomer maxis. But there are so many similarities, I believe, between the two sectors of crypto and precious metals. So I think it's just the perfect opportunity to combine them with Unicorn Fart Dust. And he just has a lot of questions. I believe, so my Uncle Kenny originally wanted to buy Bitcoin 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. He just didn't have the technological know-how really of how to do it. And he's a retired teacher right now, so he spends a lot of his time in the stocks and investing and looking up different things to invest in. And he is interested in UFD, but he's just very skeptical but curious at the same time. So one of the questions that he had for us, which I'm just going to throw at you freestyle right now, was, okay.
I'm going to run away if I don't want to answer it, but go ahead.
It's okay. I have some answers for you if you don't. But he's kind of wondering, if UFD makes $1 billion selling merchandise, do those profits get paid out as dividends to token holders? So you can see he's from the TradFi.
Yeah, sure. No, that's a great question, actually. And the answer to that question, I guess, would be to be determined. I have a really solid understanding of the traditional TradFi corporate structure. I have a degree in accounting, so I know how all that works. UFD, we haven't made anything off selling.
Not yet. We're working on it. We're working on the merchandise right now. Now that we have the IP, right?
Yeah, we have the IP. Yes, and I don't know that I can with a high level of confidence say that it wouldn't be directly distributed to token holders like a dividend is in a traditional stock, right? Where the company announces,
because we're a collectible, right? It's not a stock or a security. Profits from the merch, they go to building the project, right?
Right. I mean, a good portion of any, and I think with the merch initiatives that are underway now, we want that money to come back to the community, back to the project to help support the project, right? And that could be, by paying for help to cover the cost of things like IRL meetups or for certain. I mean, there's a lot of costs that go along with this.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
So the last meetup, the amount of swag that we got, and that was just from the narwhals, right? Donating.
Yeah, exactly. And there's other costs as well. I mean, you don't think of them until And what I want to say is there have been a lot of people who've been donating not only their time but also money toward the project. So we would want some of that to cover it. Just as I'm brainstorming about this. Another way that in the TradFi world that companies are able to pay almost like an indirect benefit is by doing, or an indirect dividend, is by doing what's called a stock buyback. So instead of distributing, they'll say, we're going to buy back, $10 million. Well, we could do something similar to that with UFD as well, where we could say, we're going to burn, I think that's the term is, beans, to reduce the overall number of UFD beans, because make sure Uncle Kenny knows, right, that there's only, where is it? There it is. Only 999 million UFD beans, right? And the people, the dusters that hold them, right, goes up and up, but we can never make any more beans. And if we can lower that line, we get to a point where there's fewer and fewer of the tokens, or beans as we call them, that are out on the market. So I hope that answers that question. That's a good question though. And it's weird, and trust me, it's, we're working through all this stuff. It's a different kind of business structure in crypto as opposed to the TradFi world for sure. And it can get, look, I'm not
Wild West, right? It's so open.
It's all evolving. There aren't real definitive rules out there per se. So it's very interesting. And it can get real confusing. And I have like I said, like, I'm not saying I'm a financial wizard, but I did work for a Big Four accounting firm. I understand kind of accounting and the business structure. And when you start mixing in crypto with it, it gets, it's a puzzle that is, I think, evolving, not just with us, but with the whole crypto industry. So.
Exactly. And we are very much, it's new because it's like that social finance, that attention economy. So if our merch is doing well, and if we're out there and people are, representing the token with UFD t-shirts, and we're going to in real life conferences, then that's going to build up the token's value. And so
sure,
you're basically, we're working for our bags, and they're going to go up from that hype and from that. And like you said, we'll see what happens with once we actually make profits, putting that back into the token in some way. But can I go on to question number 2 from Uncle Ken?
Absolutely.
Okay. And this one I didn't really even understand because I'm not a TradFi person, but maybe you'll understand it. But he said, is every token holder an equal partner in the business, prorated by how many tokens they own? So if you have 1 bean or 100 million beans, like, I don't really know what he's getting at there, but.
Yeah. And I want to repeat, I think it's important to realize that with UFD, there's 999,999,000, one less than a billion beans that were created, coins, as we call them. And there never can any more be created. That's different from a TradFi company that can have shares of stock, but they can issue more and more stock. They have to go through a regulatory process. Anyway, that's beside the point. So yes, as I understand his question, the person that owns 1 million beans or 1 million coins has a bigger, I guess, ownership interest in UFD than the person who maybe has 1,000. But there isn't really, how do I say this? There's no barrier on a couple levels to what the person with 1,000 can do with the project as opposed to a person with 1 million. If somebody has 1 million, it's like, and I guess to explain this to somebody who's not in crypto, as I understand it, like, everybody is part of the same community, and there aren't any special, I say this all the time, right? Like, I don't get any special treatment even because I'm the dev or the guy that created the project. Like, it's that key component of crypto that I found very interesting and very enlightening, I guess you would say, when I first started learning about crypto, that these are democratized and decentralized communities. Meaning, I mean, it is like the purest form of equality that you can get out there. I mean, in a TradFi company, and maybe this is why he's asking that question, if somebody owns 25% or 15% of the company, they can exert, just because of the way the traditional finance corporate structure is set up with board of directors, and they can exert a lot of influence over that company. Now, someone who owns a ton of beans, right, is probably going to be more involved and more interested in what's going on with UFD. But at the end of the day, it really is just the community of people. And not even right? I mean, I think, and I say it all the time, Uncle Kenny, like everybody else out there that owns UFD is as much the CEO of UFD as I am. I don't get paid a salary. I'm not on a payroll with UFD.
Nobody
I hope
is yet, right?
Yeah, right. So hope that answers that question.
Yep, that answers that question. We are a collectible.
Boy, I feel like Uncle Kenny's really grilling me.
He's grilling you. He really grills me too. You should have been there at my Christmas. It was intense. It's always intense with my family.
What I would recommend, and not I keep, I don't know your Uncle Kenny, but to anybody out there, is to number one, what I was guilty of before I got into crypto was contempt prior to investigation, which means I didn't like crypto, but I didn't really know anything about crypto. I just thought it was unicorn fart dust. It was nothing. It was not, whatever. And when I started to learn a little bit about crypto, in particular, kind of the I think for me, it was real important to understand the original ethos, the original ideas behind crypto. That's when I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty darn cool. There's a reason why people are talking about it, and people are getting interested in crypto.
For sure. And so much of it happens online too, which
Yeah.
if you're not in it and experiencing it, that, it can kind of be lost on you as to how is that valuable.
Yeah.
But then so much can happen in person as well from those online relationships. So it really can expand into being more than just, okay, the echo chamber of crypto Twitter, right?
Right. Did he have a third question?
We'll leave it at that. That's good enough. I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned you had a couple of reasons why you, Elizabeth Grace, are optimistic about crypto in 2026. Would you like to share a few of those with us?
Yes, and I'm very optimistic, cautiously. Like, I don't really know where this year is going to go, but I do see a lot of bullish things on the horizon for 2026. And I think the first one is just the fact that we haven't seen retail come back at the rates that we did in previous cycles. So we do need to see that incentivization. And Donald Trump has hinted at better tax returns this year, as well as a $2,000 stimulus check for regular working Americans. So that could potentially happen in Q2. So I'm looking more at like 100 days from now into April. Because things are going to take a lot of time. We're kind of at that transitory period right now where I think a lot of like the OG people, they are going by the 4-year cycle. You know what? They sold in October and that's the 4-year cycle and that's it. But then there's a lot of us who are looking at, okay, but we had a lot of stuff happen last year with tariffs and drawdowns with that. And then we had government shutdowns. So it's not like it's over. It's possibly delayed. And so I'm looking towards kind of that part as being optimistic, as well as the fact that I guess QT ended last year, like a month ago, and now quantitative easing is starting. And then I guess reason number 3 would be the fact that I believe on January 15th, they are going to be voting in Congress on the Clarity Act. And so that could bring a lot of clarity to crypto regulation going forward. And then number 4 would just be, I'm bullish because it's a midterm election year. I believe in November. I'm Canadian, so I'm just trying to remember all the American politics that are going on that might influence crypto. But historically, I believe politicians like to pump up the economy to keep their votes, so people vote for them. So I'm thinking that could happen this year because it's happened every other time. So I'm looking towards, I guess, Q2 and going into the fall. But again, like anything can happen. It's unpredictable.
Yep. That's definitely the case here in the U.S. that leading up to the midterm elections, there's this coincidence that the government will send out stimulus checks to people and other things to help juice the economy. I'm interested to see what type of regulation comes out with this Clarity Act. I do think that that's another component, and a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's okay. But I do think that if we do want the maximum amount of people to adopt and come into crypto, that a certain level of regulation might be beneficial. There's a lot of great meme coin projects, no doubt about it. There's a lot of scammy stuff that also goes on in the meme coin sector, as you and I know, and I don't want to focus on that. But I do think that that our project and the other good projects deserve to be able to be in an environment where there's at least a certain level of regulation and fairness, because I think that sometimes people just say, oh, meme coins, they're scams, right? Like they just throw out a blanket across the whole sector, and we know that the reality is very different, right? We've got a project that focuses on honesty, integrity, fairness, transparency, like 100% transparency. And there's other projects doing the same. So I'm optimistic, and I've had some great conversations with another one of our key community members, Connector, on this subject. That it's kind of like in crypto, you put up, it's like the R word. You talk about regulation, and people are like, oh no, it's evil, it's bad. Well, I don't know. I think that on a certain level, ensuring that there's a certain degree of law and order wouldn't be too bad for the overall crypto sector, because we want more people to come in. We want people to hear about good experiences in crypto, not some of the bad stuff that happens.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with that. I think it's still up in the air. We do have a pro crypto president, so I'm optimistic that it will pass, but I think Polymarket has it at like 50 to 60% chance. So we kind of have to, we'll see what happens with the Clarity Act. And there's a lot of talk right now with like the entire Bitcoin being taken over by institutions and different countries buying it and ETFs, and kind of people, they're kind of fleeing, and some people are going to more of these privacy coins and tokens. So I think there will always be kind of that divide between people who want regulation and people who just want the original cyberpunk, I guess, of like the ethos of, we want our privacy. We don't want to be controlled by the government and then having institutions take over. So I think it's kind of complicated that way, but there can hopefully find a balance.
No, I would agree with you 100%. I mean, I'm not a Bitcoin guru. I know the basics of Bitcoin, which I love, right? But as I watched it over the last, 12, 14 years, obviously big institutions got involved. And I think that originally that was, 8 years ago, I would imagine a lot of Bitcoin people were anti-institution, but when the institutions got involved, I think maybe that did help the Bitcoin price a little bit as well. So it's kind of, it's complicated, like you said. But what I can say about our project right now, Baby Bitcoin, as I like to refer to us, is I think that we, not to compare us to Bitcoin or any other big crypto out there, but I think that we do adhere to those like original ethos, those original concepts that made Bitcoin so popular and made it so successful. And, because of that, I remain very optimistic.
Yeah, and I thought of something just this morning about how Bitcoin was, the original cryptocurrency. It started off this entire ecosystem, and how the original one has a dev that is a mystery. Satoshi Nakamoto is not doxed like Basement Run. So it's the only one that can really have that. I feel like going forward, people do want that transparency of like, okay, Bitcoin, we don't know who the founder is, but in terms of like meme coins, when you don't know who the founder is, and there's, millions of meme coins and 10 to 20,000 made every single day, and then those just kind of have all these rug pulls and stuff, like we do want that more transparency going forward. Like it's different than the original that came out 15, 16 years ago, Bitcoin. We're baby Bitcoin, but we have transparency and a doxed dev.
Well, and I'm joking when I say this. Maybe instead of baby Bitcoin, we can now start calling UFD better Bitcoin. And I'm just joking. I don't want to offend any of the Bitcoin people out there. There's a wonderful community, and I always say this, like I'm grateful for Bitcoin because they like blazed the trail. It blazed the trail, and the OG of the OGs for crypto. And, I know from going to the Bitcoin conference, there's some really cool people, and I'll always be grateful for what Bitcoin has done and continues to do as well. Maybe we'll just call UFD the Santa Claus of meme coins instead, right?
'Tis the season. Why not?
Yeah, tis the season. I want to show everybody, this is Elizabeth Grace, right? She's a popular personality in the world of X and crypto and meme coins, and a very important person who contributes to the Unicorn Fart Dust community. I call her our chief anchor woman, but I want to go out and make sure everybody knows where they can follow you. Hold on here. I think I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Yes, I am. Okay. No, wrong one. Sorry, that's Georgie. We'll go there next. There you are.
Shout out to Georgie. We love Georgie.
Yeah. And here is Elizabeth Grace. who goes by at Revolution Crip, CRYP. Here's her X profile where you can go follow her. Tell us about your journey over the last year. You've been doing a lot in crypto. What's been going on with you, and what's the latest in terms of what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, so 2025 was honestly one of the best, most exciting years of my life. I totally took an entire different shift in my career, having been a consulting wildlife biologist prior to getting into blockchain and AI and content creation. So last year really took me on a whirlwind. I traveled more than I ever did in my entire life. I made about 75 videos for Unicorn Fart Dust, just like some shorts, some with you, going to Six Flags, going to the Blues Festival, interviewing different people on the streets and different news updates. I'm really just getting it more into what, where do I want to go with this whole thing? So I'm learning as I go. And I went to Miami last year, Las Vegas, like Smoky Mountains. I've been traveling a lot out west. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I want for 2026 going forward. And honestly, like I'm going to get a little bit emotional and personal. Like I spent the last 20 years of my life being like very much, I'm successful, I'm a boss babe, I'm working, I really just want to start a family and get married, and that's my goal going forward. But crypto is a great way to have different side hustles where you can work remotely, and so I'm just a crypto nomad right now. Like as you can see, I'm in a house that is a friend of mine, and there's 2 dogs and 2 cats. I'm here dog sitting, and I'm just going around with my car and my suitcase and trying to see what opportunities are out there. And I'm very free right now, which is a freedom that I've never felt before. Because, I used to work going to my 9 to 5, and a lot of the time it'd be long hours and we'd be commuting and traveling for work. And I'm all about that. But I'm also very much like, okay, what is the meaning of life? Right. So I'm getting a little bit existential with all of that, but it's come to a place where it's like, you know what, I want to just make a family and settle down, and we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to 2026 and where this can go. But I love crypto, don't get me wrong, and I still want to make content for UFD. But I have the opportunity right now to be flexible, and I have that freedom. So it's just going to be whatever. And that's okay. It's going to be whatever I feel like. Like yesterday, I wanted to make a snow unicorn. So I went down to the lake, and I was, okay. Because for the contest, I think it's Georgie is putting on the Duster contest right now.
Yeah, let's pull that up. Go ahead. Keep talking, and I'll pull up.
And I was like, because Ollie made this beautiful woodwork unicorn of Dusty out of laser and painted it. And we have Charlie who's making these claymation type designs. And I was like, well, what do I have right now in Canada? I have snow. But the worst, like as I came up with this idea, we got a bunch of rain, and then I went down there and there was no snow left really. So I'm kind of like, I gotta figure out how to make this snow unicorn, but we'll see. I do hope to enter the contest. I'm just hoping for some snow. So I'm just being really random with just like what creative things pop in. Do I want to make a video about this or that, or do I want to do a broadcast about the news this week? Or I'm like, maybe the crypto news isn't that exciting right now. I want to do something else. So I'm really just kind of freestyling right now.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. From a guy who's stuck in his basement 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Sounds like fun. I think I want to be a crypto nomad for a couple.
I know a lot of people are jealous, and they look at my lifestyle right now and they're like, oh, well, that's what you should be doing at your age. You should be just doing whatever, traveling. And now's the time, right? Before you have that's like more structured routine.
Yeah, wait till you have a couple kids running around the house. You'll say, I think I want to be a crypto nomad again.
I'm sure I'll miss it. But it's like having different chapters, and I like that challenge. So I'm definitely looking forward to someday having kids.
Yep. No, when I was younger, I traveled all around the world, and I'm very happy with Susie locking me in the basement now.
And you actually traveled a lot last year too, like being in the crypto space. They flew you out to France and
yeah. Oh yeah. I went to Paris, France. I love Paris. I was like, how do I say it? It exceeded my expectations. It was very cool. Speaking of Paris, France, here's Georgie, a key community member. And this is the Dust to Dusters contest that Elizabeth Grace, was referring to. You can go to Georgie's X profile to check that out. And when I was in France, hold on here, see if I can get this back up, right? You talked about the claymation. I want to be very careful with this. I love everything everybody sends me, but Charlie Makes Memes gave me this when we were in Paris. And I don't know, something about this is just very special.
oh,
Everything's very special, but I really love this. Like she made it by hand, and it's the coolest thing ever. So
I love that. That's
yeah. Hey, before I forget one of the most important parts, I'm here. We're here. I'm in the basement. Thanks to awesome, generous support from our sponsors, Ledger, right? The crypto security leader, their signer devices, the Ledger Flex, the new Ledger Nano Gen 5, the Ledger Wallet app is really redefining the future of digital asset ownership. You can buy, sell, stake, swap, do almost everything in the safe, secure, proven Ledger environment. And of course, MoonPay. MoonPay's the fintech leader. They were my entry door into crypto. I'm not sitting here without my very first crypto transaction, which was with MoonPay, and I've done many more since then. MoonPay has over 35 million customer accounts, and they're bringing new people into crypto, but at the same time, they're growing, innovating. They really are a fintech leader. Thank you to MoonPay and to Ledger. Elizabeth Grace, did I forget anything?
Nope, but I really like them both. They're really interactive, I find. If you post on X, they'll reply to you. And I actually won a contest through MoonPay and Ledger. So that was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Cool.
I want to eventually show the Nano X that I won. But yeah, we'll get to that. I'll make a video about that later.
Oh, the Nano Gen 5, the new one?
Yes, the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I'll tell you this, when I was at Ledger's headquarters in Paris, and they're like in the old part of Paris, like old but very nice part of Paris, incredible building, but the people are at Ledger are like just super high quality. Reminds me of the people like we have in our UFD community. But when they were launching that new Nano Gen 5, they've got like these little icons you can add like on the screen, and those icons were designed by the same woman who designed the original icons for like Apple, for like the Macintosh or whatever, and she was there. And so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a cool company, and very, very nice people. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the community? Anything I forgot to ask you about? Anything I forgot in general? Any questions you have for me?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, we could just talk about how the past couple years, 2024, 2025, I know you just got into crypto in the tail end there, but I think we've learned a lot of lessons over the past year, especially in patience and perseverance and grit. And so I guess one question that I had for you, Ron, was what were some of the lessons that you learned being in crypto for a year now? And how do you just stay happy? How do you stay happy in life, whether it's, and nothing to do with crypto, because I know you have so much going on. But yeah, just some tips for how to stay happy. Other than the 3-second smile. my gosh. I can't hear anything. Yeah. I lost audio that entire space.
No.
Now
You
I
know
can hear
what?
you.
Somehow, yeah, because how long was I speaking to
Well,
nobody?
your entire spiel I missed, but I was just trying to listen. Like I was trying to read your lips.
I
Now I can hear
wonder
you.
I wonder how that button got pushed. That
So
happened the
you
other day.
unpushed the button just now. That was why. You pushed a button.
Yeah, no, it's the mute button was on. I sincerely apologize to everyone in our listening
So
audience.
nobody could hear?
No, nobody could hear.
Oh shoot, because I was just like pretending to hear because I was like, oh, I thought maybe so you had a whole spiel
About how to be
about how
happy.
you keep happy, and I was just like, I was too
Well,
late. I didn't want to interrupt you.
let me give a brief synopsis
Okay,
for
because you're going
those
on
of
for
you.
a while there. It
Yeah,
sounded
no,
good. I'm sure it was
yeah,
good.
no, man. A brief synopsis is I'm not happy all the time. Okay, please don't think that.
No.
I think people
I've been on
absorb.
some long drives with you to different places. Me and you, we've had our conversations. You know, things aren't always easy.
Nobody. I got news for you, folks. Nobody's happy. Nobody is happy all the time. Anybody says, "Oh, I'm happy all the time," everybody goes through their ups and downs. What
Yeah,
I've learned
comes and
is
goes.
some discipline, right, in life will get you a long, long way. Whether that's, and I shared this earlier, in the morning, I wake up in a bad mood. Sorry, that's the reality of my situation. One of the first things I do when I'm in the bathroom is I do give myself a 3-second or at least a 2-second smile when I look in the mirror. And having some structure, having some discipline, I think in the long, like what I want is long-term happiness. And by doing little things every day, like when we're done here, I'm going to go take a 10-minute walk around the block, right? I don't really feel like doing it, but I know it'll be good for me to do.
Fresh air, it's always good,
Yeah,
even if it's cold or whatever.
yeah.
But
And
the weather's
connecting
all right there right now. So.
and connecting with people is
Yeah.
critical, right? I mean, I don't think anybody has ever really truly become happy just absorbing into themselves. And I think humans can maybe tend to be that way. At least I can. I found, and then I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but in my 55 years, one thing I found is the more I focus on trying to make myself happy, generally, the less happy I become. The more I focus on doing things and maybe trying to focus on some other people to a certain degree, that's where I find, happiness and interacting with my neighbors, interacting with people in our community, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that's very true. Sort of that servitude and selflessness, and it gives you purpose to help others and can really just get you out of your own overthinking or anxiety, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
even if you don't want to do it, go do it.
this is powerful, Elizabeth. So you might want to drop that dog and write this down. But if you're trying to find happiness, I'm joking. But if you think about it, if you're trying to like find happiness, aren't you pretty much admitting that you're not happy where you are? I mean, I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying in general. And I think sometimes we get at least me get confused about what I mean. I don't know that it's necessarily happiness, but I'm more interested in like in a general sense of peace and well-being, as
Yeah.
opposed to being like highs. I mean, the highs are going to come in life, right? If you're playing blackjack at a casino and you're winning, but you can't do that all the time. You can't be that perfect drunk buzz all the time. You can't, constantly chase. I think what I learned anyway as I got older was I'm more interested in long-term happiness and general peace of mind. And the more I try to search for something that's going to make me happy, it's like a carrot, that's on a stick in front of you. You keep chasing it.
And I think that's a really good point that you made, because a lot of people come into this space kind of with that short term, I'm going to get rich quick kind of scheme. And then they don't think about the long term of where they want to be in 5 years from now, and how that's really how you build like sustainability and wealth and happiness. I think that long term outlook is better, as well as just, I mean, everyone talks about sleep, diet, exercise, those main three things, and spirituality as well is important to me. And so that's, just keeping grounded in my faith and kind of having that bigger overarching purpose as well and helping others. And that's why I quit my job. And here I am just kind of seeing where the opportunities will take me.
Well, and I think that crypto, and I think you maybe touched on this a little bit earlier. You asked me like what I learned being in crypto. And I think crypto in general, and just my observation, and especially meme coins, can make it very challenging. It's not an environment that in many ways encourages peace of mind. It's not a real fertile ground for peace of mind because there's so much short-term focus. And again, I think that's, look, I'm happy being different. I'm long-term focused. And I think our project is long-term focused.
Yeah.
Do I love hype? Do I love when we get green candles? Yeah, of course. Right.
It's fun. It is fun. There's that certain dopamine hit that comes with that.
Yeah. But what I'm more interested in really chasing is 2 or 3 or 5 years out, a year out, 6 months out, whatever. 6 months is like an eternity in crypto. So I think people in crypto, including myself, right? Because I kind of had to adjust to all this and kind of realize what this environment can. I mean, that's why people get so burnt out. I mean, if you get high as a kite one day, and then the next day you're crashing, and then you're high as a kite for 2 days, and then you're crashing for 3 days. Nobody can. I mean, even young people. I'm 55 years old. I'm the boomer dev. So I think the crypto environment can be, and in particular, and I guess I can speak more from experience about the meme coin environment. Just it's a little crazy. I do think that it's changing, and I've had this conversation with several people that I respect, and I predicted like 6 months ago that I thought that the meme coin sector would change significantly in the coming year to 2 years, and that this insanity that goes on would start to subside. It's not going to go away altogether, but that it would start to subside. I think the best analogy that I used is that, about 3 months in, I realized that the meme coin sector, to me, it felt like, back in February, March of 2025, it felt like a Wild West town in the 1800s with a bunch of saloons and bars and gambling halls and God knows what else at like 2 a.m. on a Saturday night, and people were shooting guns and craziness. And, I think that now we're moving more into it's 6 a.m. on Sunday and the dust is starting to settle. And I think that'll be good for the overall meme coin sector. And let's be real, like the people that are in the meme coin sector that are gamblers, they aren't going to be around because they're going to lose all their money. I mean, there's very few of them that are going to make money. Most of them are going to lose money trying to chase this, chase that, whatever. And the people that are going to be left on Sunday morning are going to be the quality people that want to be part, or people that have realized that, hey, this gambling doesn't work, that want to be part of real communities. And I just want to make sure that when that dust settles, the shining unicorn horn is still there, right? As an option for people that want transparency, honesty, integrity, and want to be part of something good and want to connect with other good people. And with that, I'm done.
No, and I agree. There's going to be a market, I think, for gambling always, whether at casinos, but it will come and go. And there's going to be like prediction markets in crypto as well that people can go and gamble on, and meme coins will have that aspect. But I think there's room for good projects that have longevity as well. And more people are going to look for communities like ours that have that honesty and transparency. So I think that there's a little room for everything. I have a little degen side sometimes where I'm like, I want to get into this or that, but then I've been through the ringer as well as so many other people have been rugged and all of that. So you kind of have to learn, you have to go on your own crypto journey, really. And I think that there's still only so many people who are in it from retail that there's room for more people to come in and go through that. But with regulation and everything coming down, I think it's going to change a lot.
Yeah. And I agree with you, right? Like, I mean, I'm here in St. Louis, there's casinos everywhere. People love to gamble, and that's great.
Yeah.
But we also, but we also want to make sure that there's other options for people like unicorn fart dust. But even though people like to gamble, right? And even though the odds are stacked against them at the casino that's 3 miles from my house right here, right? You go play blackjack, you play craps, you play slot machines, whatever, you're going to lose because statistically, the way the games are set up. But at least they aren't, they how do I say this? They aren't cheating. Oh, they aren't,
Yeah.
the rules are set up for them to win, but they aren't. And I think that's the kind of the base level that we need to have within the crypto world, is that the cheaters, right, and the scammers aren't allowed to cheat and scam. If people, investors, whatever, want to engage in riskier endeavors within crypto, that's fine. But even they shouldn't be subjected to an environment where they, and again, it's not, it's not everything everywhere. I'm not saying that, but that segment needs to be, I think, adjusted, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And we're still early, so I think we're going to see that happen.
Yep. Elizabeth Grace, thank you for being on the live stream with me today. I want to mention to everyone, we are doing dusters from around the world. There's our current list, and I'm going to check off Canada because Elizabeth Grace is joining us from Canada.
Yep, Toronto right now.
Toronto, that's right. Any parting words for the community before we say goodbye?
I just want us to keep on keeping on and showing up every day. But, it's good to take breaks. And we've had a lot of dusters over the past year and a bit that have come and gone. But I feel like a lot of people see that we're here for the long term and they're coming back after taking a break. And we welcome you with open arms. And I just want us to be there for each other. So yeah, keep on keeping on.
Once a duster, always a duster, right? I mean, we've had some great people, and people have different situations that come up. Everyone's welcome in this community. The people that maybe don't have good intentions get shown out very quickly. And that's very few and far between. But yeah, once you're come on back.
Exactly.
I still say, right? I mean, we got some great people and so many people watching our project. I think the future looks very, very bright. Elizabeth, thank you. Okay, we'll look forward to having you on here again. We appreciate you, everything you're doing. Don't forget, guys, if you want to follow her on X, it's Revolution Crypt. Is that correct, Elizabeth? At Revolution Crypt?
That is correct. We're starting a revolution, I guess.
That's right. All right. Thanks for joining us. And we will